Is Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires, right on our strength. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Steve Post here, flying solo this week. I think I've mentioned once or 10,000 times, this spring has been just crazy with the three hosts that do these shows. Ashley, of course, is expecting a child within the next 3 or 4 weeks, and so any of you families and ladies who have been through that, you kind of know what she's going through. Aaron has been all over the map with family and friends and people everywhere. And then I've been on the West Coast, it seems like, doing my NASCAR thing. It seems like every week. And so it has been crazy. So every week, our producer, Hank, is like, he doesn't even know who he has when he sits down. And this week here on Wing Nation, it's yours truly flying solo. And we have a great program for you coming up. Gio Scelzi picked up the win on Friday night with the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. We'll talk to him and we'll spin forward. Attica opens up this Friday. Our old buddy Rex LeJeune joins us from up at Attica Raceway Park. I love spending time with Rex and can't wait to spend some time with him here today on Wing Nation. More important than all of that, though, we are glad that you have chosen to spend time with us here this week on the program. Let's get into it. Our Hepner Racing Products Hot Topics. And one of our hot topics, of course, with the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. They were in Tulare, California at Thunderbolt Raceway, and they were rocking and rolling there. This is about the first time in 3 years that we have had a planned spring trip to California. 2 years ago, the worldwide pandemic struck and knocked it out, and then all things went upside down, but it was so good to be back and have the World of Outlaws out there. This is the first of 3 weekends. When we look at Tulare, it was a California sweep. Well, California drivers and actually non-World of Outlaw full-time drivers. Gio Scelzi picked up the win on Friday night. We'll chat with him. And Kyle Larson got back to his winning ways in sprint cars on Saturday night with the win out there. It was really, really fun to watch, that's for sure. Fun to watch and see where the California drivers mix and match up. Dominic Scelzi, of note, he led a bunch of laps on, Saturday night. And so the California drivers did all right, did well out there. And it was a couple of California natives, maybe not present California racers all the time, but some good racing out there. Really, when you look at it, when you break it down, there were 4 drivers who had top 5 finishes both nights. Kyle Larson, Brad Sweet, David Gravel, and Rico Abreu. So the racing, as it always is at Thunderbolt Raceway, was spectacular, but a lot of familiar faces when you look at the 2 nights running at the front of the field, and some great performances. Also want to mention Spencer Baston had a great run going on Friday night, got the car twisted up. He was leading the race, came back to a 4th place finish on Saturday night. Barry Jackson and the boys have that car dialed in, so good to see Spencer Baston running up front. A good weekend of sprint car racing for sure out in Tulare in California. Also a hot topic, Phoenix, Arizona. Chase Briscoe picked up his first Cup Series career win, the 200th driver to win a Cup Series race. Buddy Boy, as he is known, has a long and rich history in sprint car racing. His father, Kevin Briscoe, well-respected sprint car driver up in Indiana, a 5-time champ at Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt and at Bloomington, Indiana. His grandfather, Richard, was a team owner for the likes of, just Rich Vogler and Dave Blaney. Brought Tony Stewart's number 14 car back to victory lane, did Chase Briscoe. And the other thing, I was talking to Chase during the offseason a little bit. He has that partnership with Mahindra, and they are really, really well, if they were not all in prior to Sunday, they are all in now. But one aspect of it, and we saw Chase flying the Mahindra colors on his Chili Bowl car, there will be some sprint car and midget races in Chase's future. With the Mahindra sponsorship. They are really engaged with him and really engaged with his short track program. And so that's good news for all of us because we'll see Chase Briscoe more than just Sunday afternoons. And now he is a Cup Series winner. What a race. What a time. Motor Racing Network was out there. We had a ball covering it, and always fun to get with a newbie in victory lane, and particularly one that's got a sprint car roots. Great to have Chase Briscoe there in victory lane. And finally, was out there and they announced the class in the West Coast Stock Car Motorsports Hall of Fame. Jimmy Sills, Buckwheat, is going to be inducted. It is June, It is at Sonoma NASCAR weekend, the Thursday night of that weekend at Sonoma Raceway. He is a 2006 inductee into the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, an 8-time winner in World of Outlaws competition, a 3-time USAC Silver Crown champ, wins all over the place. Balin Raceway Park, a 43-time winner, the driver with the most wins at that now shuttered racetrack, more than 400 wins. And he joins Greg Biffle, Garrett Evans, Brendan Gaughan, David Gilliland, and John Moore in the class of 2022. So a tip of the cap to Buckwheat, Jimmy Sills, for an induction into the West Coast Stock Car and Motorsports Hall of Fame. I think my travel schedule, actually, I may be out there for that induction ceremony, so it'll be good to see him inducted into that Hall of Fame. Great stuff, and there you have it, our Hercules, or our Hefner Racing Products Hot Topics. HRP Wings are the original reset manufacturer of wings. They use wind tunnel and track performance testing to outpace the industry in design and innovation and functionality, not only for sprint cars, but for lightning sprints, micros, and junior sprints. And they are shipped across the world and can be economically ground shipped to your door. www.hrpracing.com. That's hrpracing.com. Stay with us. The Sage Fruit Hotline will light up, and Gio Scelzi, he joins us next. Sage Fruit is a premium grower, packer, and shipper of Washington tree fruit. Apples, pears, and cherries, and it's always an exceptional eating experience, and they're grown in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Not only is their produce healthy, but they are grown with such care and precision that you can count on each piece of fruit having exceptional flavor. High-quality fruit, exceptional flavor, healthy snacking. Make sure when you go to your local grocery store, ask for Sage Fruit. Sage Fruit, it's our first choice for quick and easy snacking.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Circle B Diecast is the new diecast outlet from Plan B Sales. What started as Lionel and Chase Authentics apparel distributor has grown into the largest distributor of diecast and now includes Auto World, Greenlight Collectibles, Brand Art, Sam Bass Artwork, and University of Racing lines. They have a huge inventory. The folks at Circle B Diecast love racing and support drivers like Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell, and many others with sponsorships and partnerships. And on orders over $20, use promo code MRN for free shipping. Check them out, circlebdiecast.com.
Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires. Right on Our Strength continues on. Let's go to the Sage Fruit Hotline, fresh off from a trip to Victory Lane on Friday night out at the Thunderbolt Raceway in Tulare. His fourth career World of Outlaw win. Gio Scelzi joins us. Hello, Gio. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Great to chat with you, Gio. Before we get into the details of Friday night's race, I've got to say, getting a win in March to kick off the season, kind of get things up and running, has to be good for you and your race team.
Yeah, for sure. That was our fifth top 10 in a row with the Outlaws. So we'd been in the hunt somewhat, hadn't made a dash yet until Friday. So anytime you can win a race, an Outlaw race that early in the season, definitely takes a little bit of pressure off.
You mentioned the fifth straight top 10 finish. Is it a matter of where you're at, just kind of fine tuning? Is that kind of what you're looking at now to kind of get from top 10s to top 5s and up there to get a chance to win?
100%. I think Friday to Saturday with our performance shows you if you're a little bit off, that changes you from winning the race to running, almost outside the top 10 and ninth. So I think everybody is so close now. That's why you see guys. Sheldon, I think, won Friday night at Cotton Bowl, and I think he was outside the top 10 Saturday. So I think it just shows how difficult it is. And when you are a little bit off, a small adjustment or a small move on a restart off, you can lose 5 or 6 spots.
Gio, I watched the highlights of that race, and I can't imagine the challenges of Tulare. The challenges of Tulare on a qualifying lap are one thing, okay? The challenges of Tulare with guys sliding you and side by side, and the challenges of Tulare with lap traffic. What is it like driving there. Are you calm? Is it chaos? Is it reaction? Is it acting? Describe what it's like as a racer running a race like that.
I think one thing that I've learned, not that I've gotten older, but as I've raced more with the Outlaws, is I know I can't race as hard as Larson and Sheldon and Carson. I know I can't drive that hard, so I think I just have to race as hard as I feel comfortable racing and try to not make any mistakes, which is what I felt like I did Friday night. Was just race as hard as I physically can, and those guys were all over me pretty much the whole race in lap traffic and stuff, and the track was one lane dependent at both ends, and I knew if I got off that lane at the wrong time, I was going to get passed. So those guys threw sliders one after another, and it was a couple different guys that were trying to pass me. And I just tried to stay calm and kind of expected them sort of when I knew I broke my momentum. So it was a fun race for sure, but I was definitely playing defense there most of the race.
Why do you say, is it your style, and why do you say you can't run as hard as maybe a couple of those other guys? Is it just your comfort level and your style and keeping the speed, or why is that?
It's weird because obviously coming from California, a lot of California guys just run wide open because of the racetracks out there, and you have to run against the fence like you have to do at Tulare. But I got out of California pretty quickly, so just whatever it is, the way I feel comfortable racing is for some reason I feel more comfortable running on big racetracks, which doesn't make sense because you go faster. But just like I said, I know I can't run balls to the walls wide open the whole time because I know I will end up in the fence. I can do it for 5 or 6 laps, but if I do it for 30 laps, I won't be finishing the race.
That makes sense. That really does. It does. It's fascinating stuff. The race had one caution. Spencer Baston, who was actually leading, and you guys were able to get around him when he stopped down there in turn number 2. Do you like a race that you kind of can get into a rhythm like that that's not broken up too many times by cautions?
It's weird. I've won races on restarts and I've lost races on restarts. Yeah. So it depends on a lot of different things, whether your car is good. Sometimes if you don't have a good car, you want it to just get going so the race can get over with. Or if you're starting 10th, you want every caution you can possibly get because double power restarts mix things up so much. So, when you're leading, obviously you probably want it to keep going. Essentially just you want to get going through lap cars and just race as hard as you can. But that was definitely one where I wanted it to go to the end. It seems like lately, if I can just get in a rhythm, whether I start 15th or whether I start first, I just want races to get through all the way.
Nice stuff, that's for sure. Well, you did a whale of a job out there in that lap traffic. You jumped out of the race car, you went up to the podium. I think it was Chase Rodman interviewing you, and you proclaimed this is not an outlaw win, one for the Californians. So you had to make the home staters proud with that win.
Yeah, that was really cool. I've never won a race on a national stage, but against the national series at home like that. So that was cool to just have the hometown support and being a California native was awesome, and not being an outlaw too. It's almost, when I won at Williams Grove, they claimed me as posse, which I'm not really sure how that works. I think it's just because I wasn't an outlaw. But that was cool to have all the support and my friends and family there. That was awesome.
I sometimes think Pennsylvania was a matter, at least a few years ago when Donnie was so dominant. I'm not even sure if it was not outlaw. I was thinking if your name is not Shots, they'll claim you over there. So
pretty much, yes.
Yeah, that changes, that's for sure. I saw your brother Dominic was the first one into victory lane to congratulate you. And Gio, I know family is so special to you. That had to be neat as well. Not only family, but just friends out there that you traveling around the country don't get to spend as much time with. Had to be neat to celebrate and enjoy that with them as well.
Yeah, for sure. It sucks Dominic being so busy working and my mom and dad at home a lot. And, you kind of don't realize how much time you spend away from them just because you're racing so much and you're so busy with me back in Iowa racing and all over the country racing. It was nice to kind of, I'm staying at home when I'm out here now, these 3 weeks or however long we're out here. So it was nice to have them here and have them be supportive and see a lot of old friends I haven't seen in a long time. And, racing at home so much like I did early in my career, you get used to that stuff and you take it for granted. And now I'm racing all over the country. You don't get that home feeling like you do in California.
Getting a little mom's cooking, are you as well?
Absolutely, yes, for sure.
That is cool. Now, Dominic took over the Dirt Vision camera crew. And I heard him talking about some little barbecue on Sunday afternoon. Did you guys partake in that and kind of describe what was going on Sunday afternoon there with the World of Outlaw and all the sprint car teams?
Yeah, so our shop in Fresno, we have obviously Dominic's team staying there, Donnie Schatz' team's there, and my team's there now. So Scuba and Donnie have stayed at our shop, man, for as long as I can remember, probably almost 10 years. every West Coast World of Outlaw swing day I always stay, and sometimes Tony's rig was here. So now Jimmy Carr works for Dominic, not TSR anymore, so it was kind of a big get-together for everybody. So like I said, Donnie's team was here, my team was at our house, a couple other teams came over, so it was kind of just a fun deal we don't get to do very often anymore.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you what, it's those times, those moments that are really, really neat for sure. Wasn't it, I'm going way off topic here, but wasn't it Donnie and your brother out there when they found Frank? Wasn't that when Frank was found, was one of those times when Donnie was out there?
It's funny you say that because me and Scuba were sitting next to each other eating lunch when they were here, and Frank was running around outside, and Scuba was like, were you here whenever they found him? And it was at Stockton, I think like 2018 or 19. I think it was 19.
Yeah.
And that's where they found him. And Dominic wasn't going to take him home. Donnie was going to take him home. So
that is cool. Yeah, that's what it was. It was Stockton. Okay, I was somehow thinking I had it a little confused with a shop or whatever it is. Neat stuff. Gio, we have had such a wonderful time chatting with you over the course of the years, and you've been so good just kind of to describe where you're at. About 2 years ago, we followed you with our NASCAR side of operations here as you ran in the ARCA West Series, and one of my favorite interviews, you came on here, and when you kind of announced the decision that you were giving up on the stock car ride and going to go sprint car racing, and you were very honest in that you weren't giving Bill McAnally and that team 100% when you were jumping out of the stock car and checking on Race Monitor to see what's going on in the sprint car world. A couple years later, are you content, comfortable, happy with that decision?
100%. I know that this is where I want to be, and with KCP Racing, I don't feel like there's a better home in sprint car racing than them. So they've treated me like family since I've gotten there, and since the middle of 2020 when I got hired, I've had the most fun racing for anybody. And I think, this is a difficult enough job traveling and all that stuff. And when you have added pressure of not running good and getting complained to and from owners and stuff, I've been in that position quite a few times. So anytime you can be in an operation where you're as supported as you are in KCP and just in the sprint car world in general, I feel at home here for sure. And I feel like this is where I belong, essentially.
It was neat because I actually, with MRN, covered the ARCA West Series and Bill's cars, and all the cars was an ARCA National Tour race at Phoenix, and then to get back at the hotel and see you win, it was just kind of, I think that's probably what jogged that memory of you doing that stock car thing and kind of making the decision to go sprint car racing, which obviously we're very happy with at Wing Nation. How does that work when you're back in Iowa? Are you at the shop some? How does that work with you and the team there?
So they have a team house in Urbandale, which is right outside Des Moines. I live there, and work during the shop. Obviously, I have Dylan Buswell now as a crew chief, and Adam is our car chief with Aaron Byler as the third guy. So I do have a full crew, and honestly, they don't really need me anymore. Last year, I was pretty involved with the race car building stuff and work maintenance them during the week, but they're all professionals, and they don't really need me much. Anytime I come around, I just leave tools out and make a mess. So they pretty much have their mojo and their routine every week. So between spending time with the sponsors and just kind of enjoying being in the Midwest, building a T-shirt van, so that takes most of my time up. So just trying to stay busy.
So how are you going to get said T-shirt van across the country? Are you're going to be the van driver? Is that going to be your one of your modes of transportation?
So luckily, since we're not running the whole Outlaws, I can only bring it to about 30 races. Some of the Outlaw races I can bring it to, some of the bigger ones. So and Knoxville is a big one for us, and that's only an hour away. So once I park it there for those 2 weeks, it'll stay. So me and my girlfriend are going to drive it around the country, go to Pennsylvania a little bit with it. So it's a good thing it's limited. I can't take it to all 90 races, so it'll be kind of a good intro for us with a van.
That's cool. Yeah, that does. I forgot about that with the Outlaws, the way that deal works. Neat stuff for sure. Do you get a chance have you got a chance to go out and enjoy Des Moines? It's one of those, to me, Des Moines is one of those hidden gem cities. Are you a guy that goes out and finds a neat restaurant or something like that when you're out there?
Well, when you're related to Dominic, eating is something that is held sacred to you. So I love it. I love being in Iowa. People look at me crazy when I say that, but Des Moines, Urbandale, Altoona, all those areas around there, I love it. There's less traffic, less people, and it seems like it's a lot nicer than California. So obviously California is always going to be home, but I love spending time back there. And the snow sucks, but it's something you just kind of get used to. So obviously being that close to Knoxville makes it nice, and there's a lot of race fans in Des Moines, which is surprising to me. I didn't think that, either people have no idea there's anything in Knoxville, or people absolutely know what the Knoxville Nationals is in Des Moines. So it's cool. I love spending time there.
That is awesome. Yeah, when we stayed there with MRN, it was like Des Moines. We had a rain out or something when we were at Iowa Speedway. We had a rain out, and we went into Des Moines, and it was like, oh my gosh, what a great city, what a great town that is. I mean, just fun stuff. And then Kendra has spent a lot of time there, obviously, recently, and we've got to listen to her talk about it as well. The game plan this year, the true outlaw schedule, Knoxville somewhat. What's is there really much change to it other than just kind of picking and choosing as you go?
No, I mean, the only major changes obviously are California in the springtime, which wasn't around last year, and then them moving Jackson to after Knoxville, which obviously is the same for everybody. But those two changes are really it. Whenever the Outlaws head west after Knoxville, we're going to head to the East Coast, go to Jackson, and then Pennsylvania for like Tuscarora 50 and a couple local races that pay good, just to kind of warm us up for the National Open and the Port Royal at the end of the year. So, essentially the same format of schedule we had last year. Just added to California. So just didn't quite make sense for us to run the Outlaws yet. I think the Outlaws will beat you up very, very easily, especially when you commit to them full time. So we just kind of left our options open to go race whenever we want.
Okay, final instructions for you. If you're going to Pennsylvania, A, you better have that T-shirt van ready by then, and B, you better have it stocked up. Is that on the docket to sell some shirts over there?
100%. So after I think it's after Jackson Nationals, we go to like Bridgeport or something, and there's 4 all-star races. So it will be at those races. It'll be at Tuscarora 50. It'll be at the Dirt Classic. So all you Pennsylvania fans, be ready. I'll have as much stuff as possible.
I am sure. Posse fans love shirts. Boy, I'm telling you what. If you don't believe me, just ask Rico and Brownie and Brady Bacon and guys like that. It is neat. Gio, so happy for you that you got that win on Friday night with the World of Outlaws. We wish you the best this weekend, continuing out in California. And as always, appreciate your time joining us here today on Wing Nation.
Yep, thank you. Great talking to you.
There we go. KCP Racing, Gio Scelzi, after that big win at Tulare on Friday night. That wraps up last weekend. We're going to look forward to this weekend in the season because Rex LeJeune from Attica Raceway Park, he joins us next.
Just like racing components, Aggressive Hydraulics purpose-builds hydraulic cylinders to perform for customer-specific applications. They design and manufacture mobile-style, single-stage cylinders as well as multi-stage telescopic cylinders. It's a no one-size-fits-all approach with Aggressive Hydraulics. Hydraulic solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders. They proudly design and manufacture all cylinders in the United States. Check out the video of their story at aggressivehydraulics.com.
Sage Fruit is a premium grower, packer, and shipper of Washington tree fruit. Apples, pears, and cherries, and it's always an exceptional eating experience, and they're grown in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Not only is their produce healthy, but they are grown with such care and precision that you can count on each piece of fruit having exceptional flavor. High-quality fruit, exceptional flavor, healthy snacking. Make sure when you go to your local grocery store, ask for Sage Fruit. Sage Fruit, it's our first choice for quick and easy snacking. Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires. We are having a ball. Right on our strength is their motto at Hercules Tires, and great folks. I know I have those on my car, and very, very happy with them. They've got a great dealer network. You can just go on their website and find a dealer near you and get yourself some Hercules tires. Support those who support the sport of sprint car racing. Let's go back to the Sage Fruit Hotline. I said we wrapped up last weekend with a big focus on this coming weekend, and one of the headliners when we look at this weekend is Attica Raceway Park back at it again. Friday night racing action, the best Friday night racing action. Covering it all up there in northwestern Ohio. And joining us from Attica Raceway Park is Rex LeJeune. Hello, Rex. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, good to be back on. Thanks for having us.
It is always good to talk to you. Rex, for those of you just listening in on this conversation, Rex is one of my favorite people. We chat at the racetrack. I love visiting with him and love when we get a chance to catch up. So, Rex, how are things looking as far as Attica goes? Not only for this weekend, I know that you, as our other promoters, weather watchers, but how are things looking as you get on the brink of this season?
Well, overall, our season's looking pretty strong. 25 race schedule. highlighted again by the 4 visits by the All-Star Circuit of Champions Sprint Cars and 2 visits by the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars to headline our great 410 division to bring in the big shots to run against our talented local guys. So we're looking for a big season with the All-Stars and Outlaws coming in, along with our weekly 410 sprints, gearing up for the AFCS Championship Challenge Series, looking for a great season.
How are things looking with the sprint car with your regulars up there in northwestern Ohio? Looks like you have a pretty strong field, does it?
Yeah, I believe most of them are coming back to support us every year and picking up a few new ones as we usually do. I believe a couple of the 305 sprint car drivers are going to move up at some point during the season, and I'm hearing that Dane Naide's young son Darren is a 15-year-old going to join us and run for our Rookie of the Year again for this season. So looking forward to that. As we seem to pick up new cars every year.
You're the perfect person to ask this. I have an interest. I really follow some 305 stuff. We have a good tour here, the Carolina Sprint Tour in North Carolina, and we've talked like to the national champion with the IMCA with the Race Saver deal and everything like that. And I think you just answered the question. Are you seeing that as a pretty good pipeline for some future 410 racers?
Always have been, Steve. The 305 sprint started here at Attica Raceway Park when it opened in 1988. We had 4 305. Back then they were called Econo sprints back then in 1988. And the 305 sprint division has produced a lot of good 410 sprint car drivers in our area, from the Phil Gressmans, Mike Linder, John Ivey, Paul Weaver's bounced back and forth. But like I say, that's what we build our 305 sprints on, with the opportunity of moving up to the 410 ranks. And like I say, we've had a lot of good drivers over the years do that.
One of the other things, and you mentioned at the Attica Fremont Championship Series, your point standing, how critical, how important is it for you to work with your neighbors up the street there at Fremont, the Saturday night track, and kind of build that little series within a series of races?
Well, probably this year more important than ever. Just the way things are. The economy and everything. Gas prices. Trying to keep our local racers going in both the 410s and the 305 sprints. With the joint challenge series on Friday and Saturday night, and to have them run 30 miles apart on a weekend is great. And like I say, with good purses that both tracks have, and the added point funds that the AFCS puts out. With our great marketing partners, it's a can't miss. And like I say, especially this season with the higher gas prices, we want to keep our locals, going strong and not having them, run all over the state or all over the country. We kind of keep them home and, our fans, support it every week. So like I say, more important than ever, I believe.
Rex, I kind of want to dip my toe into that a little bit. High gas prices are something that everybody in the world is dealing with, and racing because we travel so much. One of the other issues is tire availability and that sort of thing. How do you feel about some of those supply chain issues, whether it's cost or availability, and how did you manage that last year as we went through the season?
Well, it's very difficult, and like you say, with some parts and tires availability, I believe they're kind of ration them out a little bit on the tire situation. You can't go in and stockpile and buy a bunch of them. I think they're allowing teams so many to buy at a time to try to keep it on an even keel. And one thing we always do over every season, Steve, in our good point fund, we don't like to have racers miss any season, any of the season point races. So during our normal situation, we give them what we call a mulligan. It's one race per year that if they would happen to miss for, parts not being available or something would come up, an injury, what have you, we give them 75 points for that night as long as they don't race at another racetrack on the night that their division races here at Attica. This year we're going to put another one in there. We're going to give them 2. That way, if parts aren't available or something would come up and they can't race, it doesn't hurt them overall in a long point series. The only stipulation is, we like for them to use only one of them during an all-star and an outlaw race and, keep one of them at least for one of our weekly races. So we do have cars, coming for our weekly races. So just trying to help the racers out any way we can to keep them going. And like I say, we're going to give them a couple mulligans this year.
I like that. I really do. I think that we're in such unique times and such challenges, and the old days you never missed a race. I mean, you break your leg and you slide down between the rails of the car and you go race. We live in a different time now, so whether it's an injury or a situation, and particularly with a supply issue, I think that's a neat plan you have up there with the Mulligans to keep people engaged and to not penalize too badly for something that maybe is out of their control that keeps them from showing up. Rex,
yeah, especially if it's out of their control. You just kind of want to help them out.
Yeah, man, I like that. I really do. That is good stuff. What are all-star races like up there? In fact, you're going to kick off the all-star point season in a couple of weeks. What's it like up there when the all-stars roll into Attica?
Well, it's pretty what do you want to say, competitive. Our local guy, stars, they thrive when the all-stars come in, to step up their game, and a few of the all-stars have some laps in Florida. Unfortunately, not as many as they would like to have had, but most of our cars around here, it's going to be their first time out, so hopefully we can get a race or two in before the all-stars invade us on April 8th and 9th for a 2-day all-star weekend with the Spring Nationals. So hopefully we can get a couple races in and get our local guys tuned in a little bit before we bring in the All-Stars.
Nice. And finally, you guys have hosted the Brad Doty Classic World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Race last year, I think it was, or the year before. You ended up getting a second date as well. I can't imagine the excitement and anticipation when you look at not one but two World of Outlaw dates up there at Attica.
Yeah, it was great that the World of Outlaws allow us to have the second one. We have that on Friday, May 20th. The reserve seats are on sale for both of them. Reserve seats went really well last year, so we're looking forward to the fans. We added 1,000 seats last year, added 7 more rows on the top of the bleachers on both ends. So I say we're excited about that, and I believe this is the 34th annual Brad Doty Classic. So next season will be Attica's 35th anniversary season, be the 35th annual Brad Doty Classic. So not looking too far ahead, but looking for some more big things. And this year we stepped up the Brad Doty Classic. It'll pay $15,000 to win this year for the Brad Doty Classic on Tuesday, July 12th. So, like I say, the Outlaws coming to town 2 days is, another big event for our local guys to see where they stand on their racing programs.
Wasn't too long ago. Didn't you guys steal the whole podium from those Outlaws a couple of years back?
Yeah, a few years ago, I believe Dale Blaney won, and Dean Jacobs was in there, and I think Byron Reed might have been the other one. I can't remember right now, but yeah, we took care of the podium that year, and local guys would sure like to see that again as we offer some bonus money up for our local guys in the top 15 in points if they can knock down the Outlaws. We give some bonus money, and then we give some bonus money for the highest finisher in our local points. So, like I say, whatever we can to give back to our local stars that support us every week.
Boy, I'm telling you what, that's why things are working so well up there in Western Ohio at Attica is everyone working together. And the beauty of it is, Rex, is that, you're able to do this through partnerships. You have marketing partnerships, whether it's you guys there at Attica or the Attica Fremont Championship Series. But the other thing you have, man, your fans up there, they allow you to keep doing this. You have got some great race fans up there in your neck of the woods.
Oh, definitely. We can't do it without our great fans and, like you say, our great marketing partners. Looking here at the racetrack, all the billboards around here, and got about 20 of them I'm going to replace here starting tomorrow with some new ones. So, like I say, without our great marketing partners and our race fans and our race teams, obviously we couldn't do what we do throughout the summer. But like I say, the great support that we get from all of them.
And I'm personally cannot wait. Easter weekend, Friday night of Easter weekend. Rex, you need to dial up some good weather up there because I'm headed your way. It's been a couple years since I've been to Attica. It's one of my favorite spots in sprint car racing, and I can't wait to get up there. You're going to have good weather for me? Is that the game plan?
That's the plan. We'll have good weather for you.
That's good. It's going to be a great weekend. I cannot wait. I've just the way the calendar works out and my schedule works out with my NASCAR travel and everything else. I was like, when I sat down this spring, getting back to Attica was one of my high priorities, and it looks like we're going to get there. Well, Rex, I'm telling you, it is always a pleasure to chat with you. Look forward to seeing you at the racetracks over the course of this season, and I'll catch up with you up there the second week, I think it is, of April for that weekend of racing weekly show up there. But best of luck this week, and best of luck as you guys roll into the season. We certainly wish you the best.
All right, Steve. Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
There we go. Rex LeJeune joining us from up at Attica Raceway Park. Folks, if you are in that vicinity and you are not going to Attica Raceway Park, shame on you. Well, not shame on you. I'm just going to tell you, you're missing it. It is just that good. What a great program. A couple of the things that really stand out to me about that thing is that one of the things that Rex and his crew really do, Brian Liskey does a great job announcing up there, but one of the things they do is they run a very efficient show. So if you're there with the family and the kids and you don't want to invest 4 hours into it or 5 hours into it, usually the 410s are first, and a couple hours into the program, the 410s checkered is waving, and you can make your way to the car and get out of there. It's Friday night, so you can get on with the weekend. And if those of you that maybe are out of the area, you're not that far from all of the amusement parks up in Sandusky, so make a trip. Maybe spend your Saturday and Sunday there at the amusement parks, but spend your Friday night at Attica. I am telling you, it is just outstanding. I've been there for all-star races, and I've been there for regular shows. And they are all good. Their racers up at Attica Raceway Park are unreal, how good that weekly division of racers are. Of course, if you can't catch it, or if you don't believe me, watch it some Friday night on Dirt Vision, because Dirt Vision, that is one of the tracks that they cover. So thanks to Rex LeJeune for joining us here on the Sage Fruit Hotline. We'll have more Wing Nation in just a moment. Circle B Diecast is the new diecast outlet from Plan B Sales. What started as a Lionel and Chase Authentics apparel distributor has grown into the largest distributor of diecast and now includes Auto World, Greenlight Collectibles, Brand Art, Sam Bass Artwork, and University of Racing lines. They have a huge inventory. The folks at Circle B Diecast love racing, and they support drivers like Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell, and many others with sponsorships and partnerships. On orders of $20 or more, use promo code MRN for free shipping. You can check them out at www.circlebdiecast.com.
Aggressive Hydraulics provides solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders. For instance, agriculture, construction, defense, emergency services, energy, food processing, forestry, marine, mining, railway, and even truck equipment. They design and manufacture mobile-style single-stage cylinders as well as multi-stage telescopic cylinders. It's a no one-size-fits-all approach with Aggressive Hydraulics. Check out their story at aggressivehydraulics.com.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires, continuing on. So glad you've joined us. Those of you joining us live here on Tuesday, we do it every Tuesday at noon, or those of you listening and watching across the week, we are so grateful that you tune us in each and every week. Love what we get a chance to do here on Wing Nation. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum birthday calendar later this week. Birthdays for Chet Gardner and Dean Thompson. Andy Granatelli has a birthday later this week, as does Bob Trossel. And today, busy day as far as the birthday calendar goes. Our old buddy Danny Smith clips another year over, so Danny Smith is a birthday celebration guy here today. Ralph Capitani, a longtime promoter over at Knoxville, and it's interesting that Ralph shares birthdays with Marion Robinson, who was also a longtime promoter at the Marion County Fairgrounds, Knoxville Raceway. Let's talk about Marion Robinson. He was a 1991 inductee into the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, was born in 1907 in St. Joseph's, Missouri. Family moved over to Des Moines after World War I. He owned some midget cars in the 30s and the 40s, went jalopy racing in the 50s, won the state of Iowa championship in the Ford Flathead Jalopy division back in 1955, did some promoting in the area, and in 1956, the Marion County Fair Association talked him into promoting Knoxville Raceway. He went in there, he wanted to make their super modified nationals bigger. They kind of didn't do it and did it. And finally, in 1961, he convinced them to pay a purse of $5,000 for that super modified nationals. The Knoxville Nationals were born. And, well, we know what it is now. It all started with Marion Robinson, who promoted it in Knoxville to 1974 and is forever enshrined in the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. One sprint car place in Knoxville, Iowa. They have a raffle coming up for a sprint car XXX Moyer race, XXX chassis Moyle racing engine sprint car. This is their 14th annual raffle car, $20 per ticket, 6 tickets for $100. And their annual or biannual drawing comes December of this year. You can go to www.sprintcarhof.com. That is sprintcarhof.com. We talked with Rex LeJeune, so excited about the season kicking off at Attica Raceway Park this Friday night. Also a season opener for Williams Grove, as they did not get theirs in on Sunday afternoon. So fingers crossed for the folks in Pennsylvania and Ohio for good season openers. World of Outlaws, they're at Merced and Ocean Speedway. Ohio Valley Sprint Car Series, they kick off their season Saturday night at Atomic. So how about that? You got a big Ohio weekend. You can go to northeast or northwestern Ohio to Attica and then southern Ohio on Saturday night down at Atomic Speedway, the Ohio Valley Sprint Car Series. I get to see those guys that same weekend, Easter weekend. I'm going up to Wayne County to see the Ohio Valley Sprint Car Series. Can't wait to meet those folks and see some of their racing and get to Wayne County as well. That's the track that Pete Jacobs built. And as if you know the background of Wing Nation, Kendra Jacobs, my original co-host here, her grandfather built that track. So Wayne County is a bucket list track that I'm going to check off. So, Ohio Valley Sprint Car Association, they kick off their year at Atomic on Saturday. And the Bandit Outlaw Sprint Series Sunday at Lone Star Speedway. So fun stuff, that's for sure. And speaking of fun stuff, coming up on Thursday, getting off track, Ashley Stremme sits down with Mandy Pittman. Oh, those two crazies. You're going to want to catch that. That is getting off track. We have As You Know, Aaron, and the post office. Also, you can find those on all of our sites and where all of your podcasts are located. We're having a ball with our Thursday podcast series, mixing it up a little bit and having a great time, that's for sure. Speaking of other programs coming up, on Rev TV Wednesday night and Mav TV on Saturday, it is Wing Nation, the television show presented by Sage Fruit. This week, Darren Pittman. It's going to be an all Pittman week here on Wing Nation. Darren Pittman, he joins Ashley Stremme and Justin Fiedler, who was her co-host. That is Wednesday night on Rev, Saturday morning on Mav TV. We appreciate Gio Scelzi and Rex LeJeune for joining us this time on Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires. But more important than all of that, thank you for joining us here this week on the show.